Hello, everyone. This is Rebecca Gaydon, Senior Principal of Capital Equipment Solutions at Vizient, introducing this exciting new podcast, The Capital Compass. On The Capital Compass, we help you navigate your journey to value. You'll dive into the most dynamic and surging areas in healthcare spend management, from diagnostic imaging to group eyes and everything in between. Now, stay tuned to enjoy the podcast.
Welcome to The Capital Compass, the podcast to help navigate your journey to value. I'm your host, Adam Fairbourn, and today we'll be diving into a groundbreaking topic that's reshaping how we diagnose and treat cancer, Theranostics. With me today, I have three of my really good friends and coworkers, Lindsay Williams from Vizient, Setu Shah from SG2, and Janna Laton, a nuclear medicine professional. So, fun fact, Lindsay, Janna, and I all used to work together as nuclear medicine technologists. So it's been a long time since we were in the nuclear medicine department scanning patients, but excited to talk about this topic today, as Theranostics is definitely one of the reasons that all three of us probably got into the field of nuclear medicine. We're also joined by Setu Shah from SG2. Sethu's in charge of the oncology service line forecasting from the SG2 intelligence team. They are the authors of a fascinating article titled Theranostics, a New Weapon Against Cancer. We're excited to have them all here to unpack this powerful new approach. So let's get into it. Janna, to kick things off, for those who may be hearing this term for the first time, what exactly is Theranostics, and why is it getting so much attention in cancer care right now?
Theranostics is a blend of two words, therapy and diagnostics. It's a cutting-edge approach in cancer care, and it combines both diagnosing and treating cancer using the same molecular tools. Theranostics is in the spotlight because it's delivering on a promise we've been chasing for years in cancer care. Truly personalized, targeted treatment with fewer side effects than traditional options. In 2022, the FDA approved Novartis's Pluvicto, a radioactive therapy for men with late-stage prostate cancer. This was a significant milestone in cancer care and elevated Theranostics as an oncology platform alongside surgery, radiation therapy, immunotherapy, and chemotherapy.
Thanks for setting the stage. I love the phrase in the article that you all wrote. That is, see what you treat and treat what you see. Can you explain what that means from a clinical perspective?
Absolutely. The phrase, see what you treat and treat what you see, perfectly captures the power of Theranostics. From a clinical perspective, it means that the exact same molecule used to image a tumor can also be used to deliver therapy to that same tumor. So first, a patient is given a radio-labeled compound that seeks out specific markers on cancer cells. That tracer allows doctors to see exactly where the cancer is in the body, typically by using a PET scan. It's highly specific, and in general, it lights up only the cancer, not healthy tissue. Once the cancer is mapped out, clinicians switch out the imaging component for a therapeutic one. It's usually a radioactive isotope that delivers a targeted dose of radiation directly to those same cancer cells. And this lets doctors treat exactly what they saw on the screen. No guesswork, no broad radiation fields, and ideally fewer side effects.
That sounds like a groundbreaking therapy. Lindsay, you used neuroendocrine tumors and prostate cancer as examples of where Theranostics is already making an impact. Why have these cancers been particularly well suited for this approach?
First and foremost, both of these cancers had a real need for another tool in the toolbox, something that could fill a critical treatment gap. And just as important, both types of tumors express very specific markers, which makes them ideal targets for the highly precise and targeted approach that the radioligand therapy offers. And it's a combination of those unmet needs and biological targeting that make Theranostics such a natural fit here.
Lindsay, you mentioned targeting, and I want to talk a little bit more about prostate cancer specifically. How does prostate-specific membrane antigen, or PSMA, targeted imaging and treatment work, and what kind of results are we seeing?
Let's start with the imaging portion. So in a typical PET scan, including in this PSMA imaging, a certified nuclear medicine technologist would inject a patient-specific dose of a radioactive material into the patient's vein. And then after a short wait, usually about 45 minutes to an hour, the patient would go onto a PET CT scanner. And that scan would take usually anywhere between 10 and 30 minutes. And that scanner is designed to pick up on those tiny radiation signals that are coming out of the patient and turn that into detailed images. And PSMA is one of the newer, more targeted ways that we're using PET. And at Vizient, we partner with our top imaging equipment manufacturers that are staying at the forefront of this technology, helping to ensure that providers have access to systems that produce clear, high-quality images quickly and efficiently.
After the PSMA PET scan has identified the appropriate patient, the therapy is then given. Similarly to the PET scan, it's given by intravenous injection, and it takes over just a few minutes on average. Patients typically tolerate it very well, and they're able to go home the same day with certain precautions that they have to adhere to due to the radioactive nature of the treatment. And the results have been very promising. Recent clinical trials have demonstrated its efficacy in delaying disease progression and improving survival outcomes. Real-world studies have corroborated the clinical trial findings, showing that Pluvicto performs effectively outside of clinical trial settings, with outcomes comparable to those observed in studies.
We've talked about how it works, but how does Theranostics compare with more traditional cancer treatments in terms of precision and side effects?
For men with late-stage prostate cancer, chemotherapy is one of their final options. A lot of us are familiar with chemotherapy. It's not precise, not targeted, and is systemic in nature. When it's administered, it goes to the cancer and kills the cancer cells, but it also affects other areas of the body that are healthy, and this can lead to unwanted side effects.
That's absolutely right, Janna. Radioligand therapy is much more targeted than external beam radiation. And with radioligand therapy, we attach a radioactive particle to a molecule that hones in on cancer cells, delivering that radiation directly to them. And that spares the healthy tissue that's around it, like a guided missile. In contrast, external beam radiation sends high energy beams from outside the body going in. Even though it's quite precise, some healthy tissues still get exposed along the way. Because of that, radioligand therapy tends to cause fewer and more specific side effects like dry mouth or mild fatigue, whereas external beam radiation, on the other hand, can have some broader side effects.
I can just add, in summary, I think we see Theranostics as a new and innovative approach to targeted therapy and precision medicine, something we've been talking about increasingly more and overarchingly cancer care as well.
Lindsay, clinical trials seem to be expanding quickly in this space. What are some of the most exciting new developments or potential uses of Theranostics that we should keep an eye on?
One exciting development to keep an eye on is called the NETTER-2 trial. And this is looking at using Lutathera, a targeted radioligand therapy already available, but moving it to a first-line treatment for patients with newly diagnosed advanced neuroendocrine tumors. And the results of that trial were really promising, showing it significantly delayed disease progression compared to standard high-dose octreotide. So while it's not approved for first-line just yet, these results could change treatment guidelines in the very near future. And it's just an example of how these targeted therapies are starting to move earlier in the treatment process and not just as a last resort.
It does seem like these clinical trials are moving forward quickly. Are there any particular cancer types on the horizon that may soon benefit from FDA-approved theranostic therapies?
And Adam, radiopharmaceutical research is very strong. If you were to look onto clinicaltrials.gov, you will see hundreds of clinical trials for Theranostics, both therapies as well as the imaging agent, across a number of different disease states and cancer types such as breast, liver, and lung.
In addition to those types of cancers, another area to watch is hematologic cancers, like certain types of lymphoma. Researchers are working on radiolabeled antibodies that can target markers on lymphoma cells very precisely. Also, there's exciting work happening in glioblastoma, one of the toughest brain tumors to treat. Scientists are developing theranostic agents that can cross the blood-brain barrier and deliver radiation directly to those tumor cells. And even in ovarian cancer, there are early trials investigating folate receptor-targeted radioligand therapies. So while we already have a few success stories, the next wave of Theranostics could impact a much wider range of cancer types that desperately need better treatment options.
Well, it definitely seems like there's a growing pipeline of these theranostic treatment options that we could soon see available for patients. In your article, you also mentioned new radiopharmaceuticals like actinium-225 and lead-212. What role might these play in advancing treatment?
I'll start with lead-212s. That's a really exciting player in advancing Theranostics. It is an alpha radiation emitter. It means that it delivers a very high energy and a short range. And that's important because those alpha particles can kill cancer cells very effectively while minimizing damage to the surrounding tissue. And lead-212 can be attached to targeting molecules like antibodies or peptides that seek out cancer cells, making it a powerful tool for both imaging and treatment. What's especially exciting is that lead-212 is being explored for tough cancers like pancreatic cancer, ovarian cancer, and certain types of resistant tumors where those traditional therapies are just not working as well. It has the potential to expand Theranostics into cancers that have been very hard to treat so far. And Janna, what do you think about actinium?
Oh, well, actinium-225 is another really exciting element in the future of theranostics. There's a lot of research and development for this radionuclide. Like lead-212, it's an alpha emitter, but it releases multiple alpha particles as it decays, delivering an even higher amount of energy directly to the cancer cells. And that makes actinium-225 incredibly potent, especially for tumors that are small, scattered, or resistant to other treatments. Researchers are pairing actinium-225 with targeted molecules for cancer, like prostate cancer, leukemia, and even some rare solid tumors. But here's a challenge and the opportunity: producing enough actinium-225 to meet the demand. Historically, supply has been limited, but that's changing fast as production is being scaled up. The production of actinium-225 is complex, but the advances are moving quickly. There's a real spirit of collaboration between labs, startups, universities, and pharma companies working to build a reliable supply chain, leading to more clinical trials, faster approvals, and ultimately more personalized, more effective cancer treatments to those that need them.
Great discussion, everyone. We'll continue this discussion on our next episode, and a huge thank you to our guests for helping us better understand the promise and potential of theranostics. And to our viewers, please like us and subscribe to our podcast. If you'd like to read the full article we referenced, you'll find a link in the show notes. Now for the Capital Compass podcast, I'm Adam Fairbourn. Thanks for listening.